And we're back for another episode of Bodybuilding and Business.
Bodybuilding and Business.
We're back the way we're supposed to be. You and me.
Supposed to be.
What's that song?
No, you're right.
Don't speak.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the one.
No offense to our guests. But
Yeah, we love having guests on here, but
love having guests.
after a couple of weeks, it's just you and I again, dude. We're going to have to get reacquainted.
I'm not going to lie. I actually thoroughly enjoy the guests, but they're kind of going to what we were saying. It's the setup. We don't really have the desk for multiple people.
Yeah.
So when we have to start getting angled very weird and start playing footsie with people
More than one person.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Whose foot do I touch? Am I going to offend this person or am I going to offend that person?
Yeah, L-shaped desks weren't meant for multiple people podcasts.
Yeah.
But who would have thought when you built this?
When I built this desk with my bare hands.
I was going to leave it open-ended. When you built this, that a podcast would happen here and you would have multiple people talking.
Never knew. I thought that was going to be a podcast. I thought it was just going to be me. And just so happened, I picked up a stray. You know?
I mean, it was just going to be you.
It was going to be me. I was going to talk about the weather. And
You definitely were not.
maybe it should just be me because you're having a lot of trouble over there with that microphone, dude.
Forget it. We'll just do it.
Yeah, just do it, man.
I'm just not going to look at it. It's like cockeyed on the bottom of the corner of my eye,
Yeah,
which is
'cause
what's
you have to
bothering
give
me.
more slack. from
No, this time
dude.
it's not the slack. Look, like the microphone itself just doesn't want to be.
Well, now you just look like a stupid dude.
I know.
I'm saying the fact that you keep fucking with it so much.
All right.
Righty tighty, lefty loosey.
I'm over it. All right.
You look better now.
But
Not you, but the microphone. You look the same.
We're back, you and I, for an episode without guests. So what are we going to talk about?
Not microphones.
PMW.
I'm gonna sound real vulgar if I just say it out of nowhere now.
And if you're wrong, you're going to be like, wow, where did my brain go? I think
it's
you
gonna
know
be
what it
pussy
is.
money weed.
Well, yeah, that's what it was.
Obviously.
Yeah. Duh. That's the only acronym for that
Yeah.
out there. Or
I would at first when you said it though, I didn't think you were going to the song. I thought you were gonna be like Patrick something. You know?
piano man,
Wiener.
equally as vulgar.
Yeah.
Just depends on who you ask.
That's it.
So I had gotten a couple questions over
About
the
the
weeks
piano man's wiener.
about that. And as much as we love getting the questions and we love doing the questions, right? We did a bunch of anonymous questions. People ask us some great questions. People also ask us some not so great questions.
That's true.
I hope that all of you who that are listening to this right now watched our most recent episode and actually followed directions and gave us more questions for our guest.
Correct.
We want those. No one listened 2 episodes ago. I don't know if we asked actually.
Regardless.
But I don't remember anyone asking us any questions about Rosie or Michelle.
I don't think we asked for that, man.
Well, if you had any, you should have asked them still. Come on. We talk about this every week. If you got questions, you ask them. And
Fire
then
away.
We answer them. And then last week, having Kate on the show, we definitely said, I remember,
No, that we
Ask
did,
questions.
because there was so much more information that we knew that we wanted to get out of her and to just discuss amongst all of us.
Yeah.
That we just didn't have time for. We were already over 2 hours. Like, okay, hey, listen.
Yeah, dude, we were
Tell us what you want to hear from her. We'll have her on another episode.
We were a feature film last week.
Yeah, it was almost as long as the Titanic, dude.
Was the Titanic that long?
It's 3 hours.
Oh, yeah, we almost made the Titanic.
Not that I've ever watched it, but
I've seen it. Paint me.
I want you to paint me.
Paint me like one of your French
Wearing
girls.
this. Only this.
Did she say that?
Yeah.
I just know the French girl thing. Paint me like one of your French girls. Yeah.
Anyways,
We don't talk about the French on here.
so Pat's had some questions.
Yeah, people have asked questions. Some of them are really, really, really simple, which, as you and I have discussed on numerous occasions, I think we even discussed it last week with Kate. Sometimes questions are so simple that we don't even think they could be a question.
Yep.
We forget that we were once beginners and we had these very same questions. And that's not being arrogant. We just literally...
Sometimes we don't think to address them because we think that it's, and again, not in an offensive way, we think that it's just common sense, right?
And we've talked about this before too. we do so much research on our own that if something was presented to us, even if we didn't ask the question, we would be going and researching why whatever thing was the way that it is. Where some people don't do that, and we're not faulting anyone for that. We just forget that other people aren't the same as you and I.
Correct.
So we've been
Especially me.
Okay.
Yeah. Just saying.
Actually, especially me. Other people aren't like you and I. People aren't like me.
Yeah, you're right. There's probably more like me than there is like you.
For
And
sure.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
It's a bad thing
In
for
both ways.
It's a bad thing for me, for sure. So I've been getting a lot of questions. I'm not pointing anybody out here. You know who you are, though. And I think we should discuss nutrition. And I think we should go back to college.
Let's go back to the basics, as some would say.
Yeah. Cue in what our picture is going to be. It's going to be us
The
in
food pyramid
21 Jump Street.
with us at the top of it.
I'll be Jonah Hill. You be Channing Tatum.
That's fine.
Nutrition 101.
Okay.
That's what we're going to do today. Back to the basics. Again, for the 1000th time on this podcast in 21 episodes, I wish we had editing ability to put up some
food
type
pyramid.
of... No, enough with the pyramids.
Whatever. I watched Joe Rogan earlier.
They
talking
didn't
about the
build
pyramids.
those. Yeah, is that what you were talking about?
Yep.
Yeah, they didn't build those things. Get out of here.
It's for later discussion.
That's for our after hours podcast. I wish I had a diagram that we could put up right now. I think the easiest way of going about this is because we are bodybuilding in business, we're going to talk about bodybuilding. I'm not going to do nutrition 101 and go into the basics of biology, which I went to college. I know you did too, but not as much. That's not a slight thing. I'm just letting you know. And for those of you at home who don't know,
have a war here on
no,
nutrition.
listen, no, that's not what I'm getting at. If you don't know, if you go in college, Nutrition 101 is a first level biology class.
Correct.
So we're not going to do biology here. Not what we're doing.
Which I actually took.
Good job, dude. Did I hate it? Never mind. We're just going to talk about as it pertains to bodybuilding. So I think the easiest way for you and I to do this is break down a typical bodybuilder meal plan.
Yes.
And then go
that
into...
doesn't mean that
everyone
we're not
will.
going to explain some of it on there.
Yeah.
Because there may be some side tangents that go on explaining some things. So we're not saying that we're not going to give you a little bit more info to make those non-bodybuilders understand a little bit more. But the people who've been asking the majority of these questions typically have been some of the bodybuilders in the gym or clients. So we want to address it and generalize more one area. Otherwise, if we cover everything, I mean, this can be a 4-hour podcast, right?
We would beat the Titanic then.
Exactly.
And we're not looking to do that today because we got things to do.
Yeah, dude. And eventually the Titanic sunk, and we don't want to sink.
We're definitely not going to sink.
Yeah.
I could see an iceberg. I got 20/20 vision.
I can float.
I can't float.
Can you swim?
I'm not dense enough to float. I can swim.
Okay.
Not well, but I can swim.
So can you swim or can you walk in a 3.5-foot pool?
No, I can swim.
Okay, I'm just asking. When you say not well, questions arise.
I'm meaning like if somebody who swam competitively was like, let's
Okay.
race to the end of the pool,
Racing-
I'm going to lose.
Racing like Michael Phelps is a little bit different than being
Well, I
a
wasn't going
strong
that.
swimmer.
I wasn't going that far. But if Devin was like, Pat, let me
If
see
you were
you.
dropped 100 yards offshore,
Yeah, I'd make it.
would you make it back?
Yeah, whatever those Ironman things are, I could do that. It'd be hard.
Of course you can.
It would be hard because the waves and
I
stuff.
can ride a bike. I can throw an axe. I can do it all.
I don't think I could throw an axe.
I think it's actually archery, but whatever.
I don't
Axe
think
would
it's
be
any
cool
of
too.
those. I think it's
No,
just
there's archery.
running. An Ironman is just running, swimming, and biking. You're thinking of it like a decathlon or something like
Yeah,
that.
that's it.
Not that. We're not talking about decathlons.
I don't do much that has the word run in it.
The
so I don't really
waves
know.
would definitely give me a hard time. But yes, I could do it.
Okay.
Devin would laugh at me though.
Yes.
Well, if she watched my like form, she'd be like, "What an idiot."
So would Michael Phelps.
Yeah, but I don't have access to him.
I do.
I don't.
I'll get him on the horn.
My favorite saying.
Yep.
One of my favorite sayings.
Yeah.
So we're going to go through a basic bodybuilding diet and break down how and why, mostly why, you're eating the foods that you're eating. This obviously, again, pertains to most of our bodybuilding clients. Some lifestyle clients will still get some insight on this, but we're just, to keep ourselves on track today, we're just going for the bodybuilder.
Now, I know for both you and I.
Whoa, dude.
Excuse me.
Should we get another shot?
Yes. Yes.
No.
Get
You
it
need
on
to
the
sleep
horn, dude.
tonight.
I got a lot to do tonight. Anyways, so I know you and I, and I know there's obviously there's some exceptions to the rule, but we typically, whether you're a lifestyle or a bodybuilder client, we typically give exact meal plans, right?
Yes.
We don't really do any, macro-based diets or calorie-based diets,
No.
et cetera. But should we explain before actually going into the breakdown of the diet, should we explain why it is that we give more of an exact meal plan for our bodybuilder clients always, and why most people should?
No, I think we should talk about, and you could tell me if I'm wrong. I think we should go over the meal plan first, because I think when we talk about each specific food, we'll be giving reasons as to why you shouldn't be picking
Fair
other
enough.
foods.
I just didn't know which way we should start it, because
Well, we've talked about this before on other episodes, guys.
and that's what I was going to say. I know we've kind of addressed it.
Yeah.
But for those who may not have heard the other episode, I didn't know if we should go into it. But you're right. It will kind of come across eventually anyway.
Yes. So let's start with breakfast.
Lunch, dinner.
Well,
I'm joking, dude.
okay, breakfast. Meal 1. Eggs and oats.
Again,
We're talking about bodybuilders.
We're talking
We're
bodybuilders.
done explaining that.
and there's obviously,
Other options.
there's variables. Okay. There's other options. There's things that we could change about this. And not every single client is going to have the same exact diet.
No.
We're just talking
Basics.
very basics and what we know that most will be able to get away with.
And
Portions,
if
all of
you're-
that change.
And if you're not a client of ours, you could listen to what we're about to explain and build a diet off of this exact thing. So, eggs and oats.
Correct. Granted, should we get more complex?
We're going to talk about each
Is
food.
it gonna be a pre-workout meal? Are you not working out till later in the day? Are we having fats in this meal? Are we not having
We're going
fats
to
in
talk
this
about.
meal?
We're going to talk about all of that.
Well, you just said eggs and oats. I don't know where we're going.
So we're going to start with. Let's start with the protein.
Deal. Eggs.
We're going whole eggs. I didn't say egg whites. I said eggs and oats. Whole eggs. Contrary to popular belief, whole eggs are not bad for your cholesterol. They are
Good for you.
bueno, which is good in Spanish if you're not native in Spanish.
We all are.
Good fats, healthy fats, omegas. Good complete source of protein, a good amino acid complex, and a healthy fat and protein source at the same time.
Bingo.
It's why we pick eggs.
And they taste good.
And they taste delicious. If somebody was in a contest prep, we might make the switch from whole eggs to egg whites to hit the same number of protein, but decrease the amount of fat somebody is consuming in a day. Ideally, though, we're not talking...
Not even just the day, but we may be spacing out his fats at certain times of the day. So we don't want to get the bulk of your fats in one meal.
And again, we'll slightly touch on each one. Maybe if this is a pre-workout meal,
It would be egg whites.
We wouldn't want the fat because we might not want to slow down the digestion of the carbs, et cetera, et cetera. We also, though, just to be said, we're not telling everyone to go and eat egg whites because the amino acid complex in just egg whites is not the same as whole eggs. The king is whole eggs. The option to make things more calorically beneficial for somebody
Trying to cut weight
or prep for a show, egg whites. Onto the carbs, because eggs have the fat in them as well.
Oats.
You want to hit this one or want me to keep going?
Yeah, you're on a roll, dude. Keep going.
All right. A complex carbohydrate, a steady, slow absorbing form of carbohydrates to kick your day off in the right direction.
I was hoping you were going to say slow digesting.
Yeah, man, I hit it on the head. If this was a pre-workout meal, just like we kind of just touched on with the protein portion, if this was a pre-workout meal, maybe there is a discussion to have this changed for something like cream of rice, which digests a little bit faster. But we're just talking about the average person waking up and eating meal 1 who's going to work out later in the day. So nice.
Good source of complex carbohydrates, good source of fiber.
Yep. That's it. It's simple.
It's easy to eat. It'll fill your stomach.
In 2 ingredients, you just filled all 3 macronutrients.
Yep.
In nutritionally dense sources.
Correct.
Whole eggs, oats. There might be someone who has a little here or there thrown into it, depending on the person, what they need. Maybe there is a protein shake needed because you don't need 12 whole eggs. Maybe
Correct.
there is egg whites added to your whole eggs to add the
Maybe you need more carbs, but you don't want to have too much of the
Slow
oatmeal. So we're
digesting.
throwing in some berries of some sort to get more antioxidants and
Right.
so on and so forth, right? So like we said, this isn't a 100%, you just eat eggs, you just eat oats, and that's all you can eat for breakfast if you're a bodybuilder, right? There are different flex for different scenarios, right? But generally speaking, if you're an off-season bodybuilding client or not a client, you can get away with just eating whole eggs and some oats.
Done deal.
Boom.
The swap for whole eggs would be, and I don't want to keep talking in circles, but the swap for whole eggs would be egg whites. The swap for oats, if you want, looking for something faster digesting.
Cream of rice.
Cream of rice. On to the next one.
Now, for the sake of this,
Yeah.
we're going to go meal 1, meal 2, meal 3, so on and so forth, right? Do you want to throw in, hey, this person is working out at 5 p.m., so we know when to throw in that pre-post, maybe an intra, maybe not an intra?
Sure. Let's say this person is a late afternoon, early evening lifter.
Bingo. So meal 2.
So
we want balance.
say they
We
work
want-
like 7 to 3. This
Okay.
is a 7 to 3 worker. So they just nailed this one before
Got
going
it,
to
dude.
work.
He must be in the union or something, you know what I mean?
Maybe.
Hey,
Meal
out
2.
by 2:30 on the road, in the gym by 4.
There you go. Meal 2.
Guess what? We also want adequate amounts of protein, good sources of fat, carbohydrates. So,
I'm going to say,
okay, go ahead.
no, go ahead, actually. I just did that last one.
Well, I was going to say, it depends on the person. If it's me, my meal 2, I like being a second breakfast option, right? But a lot of people in the bodybuilding world, they want simplicity. They're cooking in bulk. Typically, it's probably going to be a lean ground beef, a rice, a veggie, or they're going to swap out a lean ground beef and they're going to have something lower in fat and they're going to throw in another source of fats like avocado, a rice, a veggie.
So let's say that it's going to be a lean beef and a rice.
Got it.
Because then we're going to have the pre-workout meal after this.
Bingo.
You
And
know,
guess what?
You know what I'm saying?
Now, because of the lean beef, whether you're using a 90-10 or 96-4
Hold
or
on, don't get there
93-7.
yet.
Okay.
Let's talk about the beef first.
Let's talk about the beef.
All right. So,
All about the beef, dude. Yo, never mind. I got a joke, but we'll talk about that later. I don't want a side tangent. Go ahead.
because the movie you're watching, Beef?
No. That's a series.
Oh.
Meal 2.
Meal 2. Very
Beef.
simple. Are you guys ready for this? Beef, rice,
Veggie.
veggie. Done. Ground beef. Am I going to keep explaining, or do you want to jump into
Dude,
this?
go ahead.
All right. Ground beef.
Yep.
Let's say either 93.7 or 90.10.
Got it.
Something to where the fat content is enough, but not overzealous for the meal.
Overzealous, dude. Nice job.
Thanks. Lean enough so that you're getting a good enough quantity of protein, not so fatty so that the protein count is down.
To get your protein count high enough, you're either taking in way too much fat or you're not getting enough protein.
So something along the lines of
90-10, 93-7.
Yeah, even though I'm a big fan of the 96.4, but for simplicity, 93.7 and 90.10 are like the easiest to find.
Correct. Which is why that's pretty much what I prescribe to people.
Yep.
Me, myself, typically buy a 96.4.
There are going to be some people who say that red meat's not good for you. Same thing with the whole eggs.
Fuck off.
Yeah. So what he said, just because there's a little bit of saturated fat in the beef does not mean there's not also unsaturated fats, mono and polyunsaturated. That will not make or break anything when it comes to the whole meal plan that you are eating in the day.
Correct.
So,
And I think that's where a lot of people get misconstrued, though, is
Yeah.
yes, if you were eating red meat for 6 meals a day and that was
Yeah.
your only protein source, guess what?
well, listen.
We may frown upon that.
And if you're eating red meat as a burger from McDonald's, yeah, it's going to be high in cholesterol and bad fats. And like, it's going to be
70-30 ground beef.
Yeah, like obviously it's going to be really bad for you. But a lean protein, a lean portion of beef is not going to make or break anything.
Correct.
So it's a good, healthy source of protein, high in amino acid complex. Again, the lower you go in that percentage in
Guess what
fattiness,
happens, guys?
That amino acid complex starts to break down a little bit.
Bingo.
Doesn't look as nice. So beef is a good source of protein. You're also getting your fats in there, which is why we're not adding a fat source to this meal.
Correct.
The other ingredient,
Let's not be gluttonous, guys.
was jasmine rice.
Bingo.
We said rice, but we're going to say specifically jasmine or basmati rice.
Yes.
For the reason, do you want me to do this or you want to do this?
I mean, we could both back and forth, but I'm going to say right off the bat.
Yeah.
Number one reason, fuck science. Jasmine just tastes way better.
Yeah, it's super tasty.
I think basmati gives off a little bit of a stench.
They are both fragrant rices if you're unaware.
But basmati, I'm not a big fan of.
I can
But
get down
both
with it
of
at
these
times.
rices. What happened?
No, I can get down with both rices at
Oh, I
times.
thought you were talking about our foot play. You said it while you were looking down and moving our feet.
Yeah, I was just...
And I say our feet because, again, he's touching my feet. Both of these, guess what? Digest very well. Very predictable to what it's going to happen to 99% of people once it's ingested.
Yeah, they're both low glycemic.
Should we explain to them to what that means, or are we not going that far into detail here?
I want to just do like a little bit and not go like too far.
Okay, so for those who don't know, when you ingest a carbohydrate, it turns to glucose. Glucose is sugar. Okay, so when something is lower on the glycemic index, okay, guess what?
Doesn't convert to sugar as quickly. Oh my goodness gracious. So
Boom.
basically
Carbohydrates 101.
man, we're doing a lot of 101s today. It's low glycemic. So basically it's not going to break down as quickly as a traditional break down into sugar as quickly as a traditional white rice would. That's the reason we're doing it. It's super easy to digest and it doesn't break down into sugar as fast. It doesn't spike insulin production or your blood glucose levels as quickly, which then will keep your insulin sensitivity a little bit nicer. There's a whole slew of reasons why we're not doing it, but the most important is it digests super easily and it doesn't just immediately turn into sugar in your body like a traditional white rice does.
Hey, Patrick, let me ask you a question.
Sure, dude.
So why is it in the health world, you hear all these people saying, you should only have brown rice?
Because they're stupid.
Thank you. Okay. All right, moving on.
If anyone has that argument, listen. Just because something digests quickly does not mean it is unhealthy for you.
Bingo.
So the only reason why people say brown rice is so much healthier for you is because it is slower digesting. So if someone's having a hard time managing themselves while eating and stopping themselves from eating too much, it might be more beneficial for them to eat a brown rice because it digests a little bit slower, thus making them a little fuller. There's also a film over the brown rice. I don't want to get too far into it, but that's the only reason why anyone's saying brown rice is healthier, is that white rice digests a little bit quicker.
But guess what?
Don't make no difference.
For someone, and again, we're talking bodybuilders.
Yeah, who's trying to get some food in.
Who's trying to get food in, your body is going to utilize all these nutrients. We want something that's going to digest a little bit quicker and more easily.
Yeah. And then the third thing we were talking about in this meal was veggies.
Correct.
I prefer green and leafy if you can get them. The greener the better.
Dark leafy greens.
Yeah, the greener the better.
And listen,
This is just for vitamins and nutrients,
I would
guys.
say we're
and
using
fiber.
this for your micronutrients, your fiber, but also when it comes to a prep and stuff like that, they're also working as fillers.
Yeah, because eventually you'll lose that rice and you'll just be eating beef and veggies. And you're
So
going to
we
need
need
a
to
little
get-
bit of sustenance in there.
Yes, we need something to
Sustenance.
fill you up a little bit. Substance.
Substance.
I got what you're going with.
Yeah.
Dude. Sustenance. We need to fill you up a little bit. And guess what? If you're, we were way off. If we're pulling all of your rice or whatever other carbohydrate you are, guess what? We need to get fiber from somewhere. So not only are we getting some micronutrients here, but we're also increasing our fiber intake, which is very important for digestion.
And just because you don't have poor digestion, eat your vegetables. Rice will bind you up, which can be beneficial for your digestion. Can be. But rice is not fiber.
Correct.
So please eat your vegetables. All right, moving on. Meal 3.
So,
Let's say this is the pre-workout meal.
okay. So I'm going to go with either a like 99.1 ground turkey or a chicken. We're talking breast. We're not talking thigh or leg here. And we're talking, again, jasmine rice.
Yep.
And that's, oh, and a green. Maybe, depending on where this person's diet is, I may even throw a little bit of avocado in there. But typically, I like to keep fat slim to none pre-workout. And again, it depends on the person, their digestion, and what else their diet looks like throughout the day. But typically, it's going to be slim to none fat, at least in my clients, okay? Fast absorbing carbohydrates and a lean source of protein, because fats will slow down the digestion rate of these carbohydrates that we're going to try to utilize as energy for our lift.
Correct. So going back to the first food source, Greg said chicken breast or extra lean ground turkey breast. We're not using thighs or legs because, once again, the amino acid complex is not the same, meaning you do not get the same amount of, you don't absorb the correct or the right amount of protein you think you're seeing on the label, right? You're like, oh, 4 ounces is 20 grams of protein. You're not absorbing 20 grams
Which is
of protein.
something that people very, very, very often overlook.
And that's a reason why we don't like if it fits your macros and stuff like that. So, and
you're
then
not getting the nutrition that you think that you're getting.
correct. And especially in this instance, we're talking about a pre-workout meal. We don't need extra fats that come from chicken thighs or legs. We are not saying somebody can't make off-season progress eating either one of those other chicken types. We are just talking about this specific meal plan in regards to this being a pre-workout meal. The idea is health, a good amount of protein, good amount of carbs, minimal fat.
Bingo.
Digests quick, so that way your stomach is not. Dude, Arnold had this quote. I don't remember if it was his book or if he said it out loud. It's been a long time since I've heard it. But why would I want all of my blood in my stomach trying to digest my food when I could have it in my muscles getting a pump?
Amen.
So why make it more complex? Pre-workout should be simple.
Yep.
Simple. An alternative for some might even be a protein shake.
I was going to say.
And like a banana.
Yeah.
Pre-workout, because it's
Something
very
simple. Either a protein shake, a whey isolate with a banana, or even something as simple as a cluster dextrin, which is a carb powder.
You could make a powder and just make it all into one shake that you're having before you work out. But we're looking for minimal fat, so that,
and when that comes into play for me, and again, you could touch base on how you do it with your clients, but it depends on how far out that meal is from their actual workout time.
Right.
And just the rate that they digest, how they tell me they feel when they're working out.
Yeah.
And again, that's also kind of when I decide if I'm going to put any fats in at all or not, is how far out is that workout from the pre-workout meal? Are they having an intra? Are they not having an intra?
I think if we were talking about somebody at like a 2-hour range prior to their workout, I don't think a ounce and a half of avocado,
and
or 2 ounces of avocado,
I'm talking an ounce and a half to 2 ounces of avocado.
A teaspoon of olive oil put over your chicken. Like, that stuff's not going to make or break the digestion of that meal and slow things down, so that you're not.
If you're talking 30, 45 minutes, an hour before, typically I will do 0 fats.
Yeah. So, and that's where I think the shake switch would be even more effective. Would be if you were doing a shake with cluster dextrin or a banana or whatever.
Of that nature.
That would be like an hour before your workout. You're having something like that.
Correct.
We already talked about jasmine rice, so we don't need to explain that again.
Yep.
And then vegetables, we already explained what those do. We don't need to explain those again either. There's not enough fiber in your vegetables to slow down things before you work out, by the way. So do not think you can pull the vegetables from this meal, your pre-workout meal, because there's not, unless you're having 10 cups of kale, you're not. And don't do that anyway.
I was just going to say, why the fuck would you do that?
Don't do that. So do not pull the vegetables from this meal. Still eat your vegetables.
Okay.
Post-workout.
Or intra-workout.
Yes.
Depending, again, the client.
I think I want to keep something simple, though.
Okay. Tune in next time when we talk about intra-workouts.
Because now, I don't want to go too far into like, now they're spending more money, and someone who is listening who's beginners, like, I gotta have an intra workout thing. Like, let's just go simply.
And I was gonna say, not every one of my clients have an intra workout.
Yeah.
And there's different ways that we set it up, and there's different reasonings. But again, I guess that is making it a little bit more complex.
Yeah,
we'll go to post workout. And post workout, guess what? We pretty much want to mimic. That's the word I was looking at. Our pre-workout. Yeah. We want protein. We want fast absorption of carbohydrates. And guess what? We're still going to take in some greens.
Yeah. So either
I never do fats in my post-workout meal because guess what?
don't eat it.
We want this food for recovery, right? So we want to replenish glycogen levels that we just burnt through during our workout. So we want those carbohydrates to get to our system quickly.
Glycogen stores are carbohydrate stores that are used as energy during life. I'm not even going to say during,
Life.
I'm not even going to say during exercise. Primarily
Yes.
during exercise, but anytime you're exerting yourself,
Correct.
Our bodies are using these glycogen stores to fuel what we're doing, how
Bingo,
we're
but
exerting
obviously
ourselves.
when you're working out, you're burning through them at a more
Rapid
faster pace.
Correct. So I would say easily for the post-workout meal, we'll just switch whatever the pre-workout meal was. So if we said that we ate the chicken and rice and vegetables pre, let's say go ahead and do that shake post.
Or
If you had the shake before,
what I do often is I have them do like a cream of rice with whey isolate because it's
quick protein.
quick, both easily digestible, and it kind of, after I work out and a lot of people work out, you start having cravings, right?
Yeah.
You start getting hungry, you burnt through all your reserves. Guess what? Most people are like, man, I could go get a burger right now. But if you get something that tastes good and it's not your same meal over and over and over, I feel like it helps on the mental a little bit.
Yeah.
So I like throwing in a cream of rice and a whey isolate. But guess what? Same thing as having, like he said, a shake with a banana again, a shake with a clustered dextrin, or even a chicken and rice.
Yeah. I would just switch, just for your own sanity, switch from what you had pre-workout.
Yep.
So if you had the chicken and rice pre, have a shake and cream of rice or a shake and a banana or shake and some carb powder post. If you
Bingo.
decided to have the shake pre, have some chicken and rice afterwards.
That's it. Or if you're a big kid like me, have some whey isolate mixed with your cream of rice.
You could do that.
Tastes like pudding.
That was meal 4.
That was our meal 1, meal 2, our pre, our post. That's 4.
Yeah.
Guess what? Meal 5, I'm going to throw some fats in again. How about you,
Yeah, I'm
Pat?
going to go back to fats.
Okay. Are you going to go red meat? You going to go a fish? Or hey, are you going to throw in just some avocado or some olive oil? Or avocado oil? Or macadamia nut oil?
I'm going to probably recreate what meal 2 looks like.
Okay.
However, that could easily be switched for something else that is either another healthy fat source or like the avocado or olive oil or avocado oil or macadamia nut oil, or switch it for another fattier protein source like a salmon, I guess you could do ground turkeys.
I'll typically do it at this point, do like depending on the client, but I like to switch it up and I like to get a fattier source of protein back in. I'll either do like a salmon or a lean sirloin, again, a jasmine rice, something of that nature.
and vegetables with it as well.
Correct.
The jasmine rice and vegetables are staying, guys, if you haven't noticed yet.
They're here to stay.
I think for
Ladies and gents.
simplicity, for someone to be nailing a meal plan, I think sometimes consistency is way easier. So I would say mimic your meal 2 for ease. So that way, hey, I'm cooking 10 pounds of ground beef
Correct.
this week, so I'm just
It
going
makes
to have
your
it ready
prep
to
work
go.
a little bit easier because
Yes.
most people fall off plan because they're not prepared.
If you're someone who does not want to do that and you'd rather have more variety in your diet, then this could easily be a leaner cut of steak, a salmon. But the basics are still staying. You're eating some jasmine rice and you're eating some veggies.
Yep.
The same reason for the ground beef is the same reason for the filet or the salmon. You're still getting a good amino acid complex from
Correct.
a protein standpoint. You're getting a healthy amount of fat from either salmon or steak.
From your protein
that's
source.
not overly the salmon better than the steak,
Correct.
but filled with better
Due to
the omegas that you get. Dude, there's just so many omegas in there. There's a reason your omega product is called fish oil.
bingo.
Because it's from
It comes from fish oil.
yeah, crazy. So if you were looking for ultimate like fat health in this meal, fish would be the best way to
Yes.
go.
But if you're not a fish eater,
You're not a fish eater. You could do the beef, the turkey, or steak as opposed to the ground meat.
Correct.
Some of you might not have a meal 6.
If you're a bodybuilder and you weigh more than
There's-
130 pounds,
Listen,
I'm just giving
this other
shit, dude.
podcast we talk
I
about.
am just giving shit.
Those
okay?
guys talk about
There's
5 meals
bodybuilders that
too.
weigh 250 pounds that will eat 4 meals. Okay.
Yeah.
So
5 meals might work for some people.
correct.
There is
for the sake of conversation, let's throw in a nightcap, a meal 6.
No, I am. I'm just saying what we're going to talk about for meal 6 may apply to your meal 5 if your meal 5 is your last
meal of the day. Okay.
Yes.
Fair enough.
So
okay. All right.
as a last meal, I might, and guys, this is all I know super crazy and like hard to wrap your head around. I might go back to what meal 1 looks like. It's weird how meal 5, meal 3 and 4,
Dude.
Samesies.
Man.
3 and 4 look really similar. 2 and 5 look really similar. 1 and 6
Very similar.
probably gonna look real similar.
And there's reasons for it. Like he said, it's simplicity,
Yep.
right? Variety,
Yep.
okay? But another reason why I like doing my breakfast again for a last meal, and again, it's not with every client, okay? But it's for mental sanity, right?
Yeah.
Like for me, if I'm having whole eggs and oatmeal, something like that, okay? It's going to be, for me personally, a little bit more exciting than my chicken and jasmine rice, something like that. Like before I get in bed, it's easier to throw down more quickly. To me, it tastes a little bit better, right? Especially, I'll throw a little bit of cinnamon in my oats or a little bit of vanilla or something like that. Something that's not going to add calories, right? But it's going to add flavor and it's going to make me think that I'm getting something sweetened, right? But I'm not.
Yeah, and
But I'm just explaining my fat reasonings.
sure.
That's not really a health benefit, but it helps.
It does help. Taste of anything helps.
Yep.
We didn't touch. We're talking. This is nutrition 101.
101.
101. We didn't really touch about.
21.
Nice, dude. We didn't talk about flavor at all.
Correct.
And that's a whole nother discussion. So
We could get into it, but let's finish this meal up
for this,
and we'll talk about rules and regulations.
yeah, I would say we're gonna repeat that first meal. It doesn't have to be exactly the same.
Yes,
but
portions may change.
I would think now that your post-workout you are so far post-workout, you're not looking for instantaneous recovery.
Correct.
You are planning to end your day and sleep and fast for an extended period of time. Sleep is important. Get your 8 hours in. So if that means that you're sleeping for 8 hours, you need a meal that is hopefully going to help. It's not going to hold you over for 8 hours. I'm not saying that's the case.
But
it's hopefully
having
going
a
to
higher fat content.
is going to slow down digestion, and then using the right type of carbohydrates should digest slower than a jasmine rice. Because this is the point of the day where you'd probably be like, jasmine rice is a no. I don't need that right now. It's not a bad source of carbs, but it's not the most ideal for the time of the day
Correct.
we're in.
Because you're going to go anywhere from, depending on the person, but if you're a bodybuilder, hopefully at minimum 6, 7, 8 hours with no food. So we want something that's going to be a little bit more slower on the digestion rate for this point of time. There's no benefit for you to absorb it immediately at this point.
No, and
It's actually going to work against you.
yeah, because you'll probably get hungry again. Then you're going to start cheating on your diet.
And you're going to wake up in the middle of the night. You're going to be starving. You're going to walk into the pantry and just fucking go super Will Ferrell on it.
Or you won't even make it to the middle of the night.
Or that, yeah.
2 hours later before you actually put head on pillow.
Yeah, before you put head on pillow. That's it.
People say that.
I guess.
And then
Old people.
You're like, I'm so hungry. We don't want that.
I could eat a horse.
We don't want that at all.
People say that too.
I could eat a horse.
They do say that.
Elf.
I think. Yeah, that's where it's from.
Yeah.
Okay.
You said Will Ferrell, and then you said that.
I got
and
Will Ferrell because I was talking to Step Brothers.
No, I know. And I don't think you realized. I think subconsciously you threw
That's
out.
just who I am as a person.
Yeah, you threw out
I
two
am the
Will Ferrell
short
quotes.
brown version of Will Ferrell.
I don't know if that's true.
Curly-headed fuck.
He likes soccer. So
I did watch Kicking and Screaming.
you're out.
Oh. Anyways, so
Pass
that's
it to the
your
Italians.
Meals. That's your meals. That's why I like the movie.
Yeah.
That's your meals 1 through 6.
Yep.
Okay. Now let's talk some rules and regulations. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I'm going to be repetitive here. That was very, very generalized. Obviously, We're not saying you go eat exactly that and you don't care what your portions are and you're going to be the best bodybuilder in the world. There are specifics to it, which is why you should have a coach and help them find out
Yes.
where meal timing should be, where portions should be for the food sources that we spoke upon.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, that is a very basic layout for most bodybuilders.
Correct. I want to touch on one more thing.
Go ahead, touch on it, dude.
We talked about in meal 1 potentially adding some fruit to it.
Correct.
To add some little bit of
Guess
speed
what
up in the digestion.
We're not going to do a meal 6.
We're not adding that into meal 6.
Nope.
We don't need that quick hit
you
of
gonna tell 'em why?
carbohydrates. Because you're going to bed. You don't need energy to go to bed.
Yeah, dude. You don't need that. You're not going to utilize it.
You don't.
It's not going to be beneficial.
You don't need it. So,
Glutton as fuck.
you want to talk about quick tips and tricks? Is that what you said?
Well, you talked about...
Tricks are for kids.
It is. You talked about you're not talk. I think you said something about we're not talking flavor. So let's talk.
Okay.
Everyone thinks
Remember that. Sorry. I do want to... You are on the right path, and I do want to talk about that.
I'm always on the right path.
Sure. So, what we just described, though, if you did not hire a coach and you're not working with someone right now, you
Email
could
me at Greg at... I'm just kidding.
you could email either of us, right?
That's why it was a joke.
If you're not in the place to do that yet, you could literally eat what we just talked about for a couple months and figure out what it does to your body. Start at a cup of the carb portions, right? So cup of rice, cup of oats is a lot, but
Are we going to go into a cup or are we going to go into...
we will after this.
Okay.
I just mean like in general, if somebody listened to this and said like, they wrote down every meal we just talked about, start at one portion for each of like your carb sources are this portion, your protein sources are this portion, your fat sources are this portion, and eat that and do it for a month straight. If
Correct.
you gained weight, it's too much.
Yep.
If you lost weight, it's too little.
Correct.
And work from there.
Exactly.
That's
and you'll know within the first few weeks about it, are you starving all the time? Are you overly full? How's your digestion? Listen to your body.
Yes.
The quicker you learn how to listen to your body, not your brain, your body, okay, the more successful you're going to be.
Though that's nutrition 101. Now we're going to step it up a little notch.
Okay.
And talk about these trips.
Let's talk flavors and then let's go into this whole cup of rice, gram of...
Sure.
Okay.
But flavors are tricks and tips.
Yes,
So that's a little.
correct.
This is a little advanced now.
Yeah.
So if you are not buying your food from our podcast sponsor, BAM Preps.
BAM Preps
BAM Preps.
at gmail.com.
For
BAM Preps on Instagram and pay us, motherfucker, at BAM Preps Venmo.
Yeah, you have to type that whole thing in.
You have to.
BAM Preps offers 4 lifestyle options and bodybuilder options each week for you to choose from, as well as protein by the pound, rice or carbohydrates by the pound, and vegetables by the pound for you to choose from each week. So you have all of the options to create a meal plan like we just discussed, or buy them already pre-made for yourself. If that's the route you wanted to go, they're already flavored for you. You don't have to add anything. If you were
You don't have to utilize the tips and tricks we're about to give you.
if you were at home and doing this on your own, here's some ways to make it taste good.
Yep. And that's the thing. People think, okay, and again, we're talking bodybuilding, so I'm not going to go into lifestyling because there's a whole list of complaints there.
Yeah.
But most people bodybuilding wise are like, oh my God, like I get emails all the time. How can I make this more exciting? How can I make my chicken taste better? How can I make my fucking salmon taste better? Okay. You guys can use condiments, okay? You can use seasonings, but guess what? There are limitations. Seasonings, not so much. Condiments, there's limitations. But guess what? What's a go-to condiment that you tell everybody they could use no matter what?
Hot sauce.
Hot sauce.
So before we even go too deep into this, don't shy away from sodium.
Yep.
If you want to pump in the gym, use sodium. So if someone tells you,
Not even just a pump.
I know, but if someone says,
You need sodium to survive, people.
For life.
Like, people, salt is the enemy, right? And they
it's
don't
not.
salt, they don't put pepper, they don't put garlic powder, they don't
if you
use
don't wanna-
seasonings.
if you don't want to pass out, or if you want to pump in the gym, you need.
If you want to look good, fuck it. Most people don't care about health, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Most people don't.
Yeah.
Although it's important,
Yeah.
obviously, most people don't.
Yeah,
If you want to look good, you need sodium.
you need sodium. So don't shy away from sodium. So a lot of the things we're going to say that are tips and tricks to make your food taste better contain sodium. It's okay.
Correct.
Don't
Until you are at the end of a contest prep and a coach is telling you that we need to do something with your sodium, which may or may not happen depending on the situation, do not worry about your sodium. Drink enough water, be active, you're going to be okay.
Yes. So don't be that guy who's so hardcore that they don't flavor their food. That's just stupid. That's not hardcore.
You're an idiot.
That's not hardcore. That's just dumb. So you're allowed to flavor your food. So like Greg just said, the simplest or easiest thing for us to suggest to people is putting hot sauce on their food.
Correct.
Because
Hot sauce is typically going to be pretty much calorieless and just sodium.
it's like cayenne pepper and vinegar.
That's it.
Maybe a different
water.
And water. Maybe a different kind of pepper thrown in there as well. But it's like pepper and vinegar and water. And that's it.
Sugar and water.
And some sodium thrown in there. So use some hot sauces. When you're actually making your food, you want to use some garlic salt?
Go for it.
Go for it. You want to use some black pepper, some paprika?
I don't give a fuck. You
Some
want to load
cumin?
your jasmine rice up with some soy sauce. Go for it.
Yeah. I mean, don't go too crazy.
Don't go crazy.
Right. We're telling you to have
I'm
sodium.
just saying.
We're telling you to have sodium, but don't be a dickhead.
Yes.
There's a garlic, onion. I put cayenne pepper on my beef. I like a little kick to my beef. There's so many things you
I'm
could
not
do
knocking
that aren't adding calories that are making your food taste way better than it probably already does.
Yep.
What do people always tell me about my food?
It smells so good.
I don't do anything. I am not a chef.
You're not.
Believe it or not. What am I wearing a hat right now? Mm-hmm. Am I?
Oh, your hair fooled me. I'm sorry. No, you're not.
No. Is that a chef's hat?
No.
Then I'm not a chef. So I don't know why people tell me my food smells good, which kind of scares me a little bit because I'm just a big dumb bodybuilder.
Again, BAM Preps guys, hit us up.
Yeah. I don't.
So Pat, literally all he does is he buys chicken by the pound from BAM Preps.
Mm-hmm.
He makes his own jasmine rice in a rice cooker. He makes his own zucchini, which he puts salt and pepper on. And then maybe when he heats it up in a pan, he throws a little bit more salt and pepper on his chicken. And that is all he does.
Some avocado thrown into my meal, and that's my meals. But people are always
And
like, wow.
It smells great and it tastes great.
Wow, it smells so good. Well, it's because it's got a little
It's not
something to it.
bland.
Yeah, it's because it's not boiled chicken and rice. So,
Like for me, if I'm making chicken, right, I'm putting salt,
Yep.
pepper, a little bit of garlic powder, okay? And I like a little bit of cayenne on it as well.
yeah.
And guess what? It tastes amazing.
And something else I tell a lot of my clients, bodybuilder or semi-bodybuilding, some lifestyle, whatever. Spice is nice.
It's nice.
Dude,
Spice is nice.
spice is nice. Condiments,
There's limitations.
I like to give lists. I really do. I hate that I have to do that, but I do it.
Okay.
I tell them hot sauces, go wild, right?
Go wild.
I
Hot
tell them-
sauces, even salsas, like typically okay,
Yep.
right?
I say most salsas are lower calorie. Check the back label. If it's over 10 calories per serving,
Get the fuck out of here.
don't even look at it. We will talk about this in a different
would say
episode
that's- yeah.
about the 10 calorie thing because it's not really.
It's not, yeah.
So we'll
Totally
talk about that in a different thing. There are brands, and I include the brands in my email of sugar-free sauces. You want to use those? Go for it. You can't use barbecue sauce unless it's unless it's one of the approved sugar-free ones. You can't use sour cream, ranch. What are other fat condiments?
Blue cheese.
Blue cheese, salad dressings,
Yeah.
syrups. Like these things are not okay.
Nope.
You cannot use those to flavor your food. Oh, we skipped over a big one. We don't eat it. Mustard. There are people who like mustard. It's just a seed.
Guess what?
go
you can
for it.
use it. Don't like it, but you could use it.
Yeah, I don't want to smell it. Keep it away from me.
Please.
But go for it. Mustard it up.
You know what, like my biggest fear is?
Accidentally eating mustard
Mustard and onion, dude.
together.
I mean, that's even worse. That's my nightmare.
Isn't that what honey mustard? No, wait.
Yeah, honey mustard, I think, is onion and mustard.
No.
No
that's not
honey.
it. That's not it. There's something, but
Regardless, it's disgusting.
I digress. So there's plenty of options to make your foods taste good. I was going to say smell. Taste good. Don't be afraid. And if you are working with somebody and you have a question about if it's okay to use or not, ask the question.
Ask.
And we'll tell you.
Don't be afraid of sodium.
Yes.
Rule number 1. If you are not seasoning your food, it is going to taste like shit. You are going to get sick of it.
Yep.
And guess what? You're also going to feel like shit.
Yep.
So when you're going to feel like shit, it's going to taste like shit. Guess what's going to happen? You're not going to want to diet anymore.
Ever. You're going to quit. You're going to be discouraged.
Yep.
I'd be discouraged if I had to eat boiled chicken all day long too.
Yeah. Well, hey, Patrick.
Yeah, what's up?
Talk to them. What are your thoughts on all these 0-calorie sweeteners, like throwing in Walden Farms, stuff like that? Are you for it or are you against it? What's it do to your body? Talk dirty to me.
Me personally or for my clients?
For your clients, off season,
You want a little something, something?
have at it.
Have at it.
Contest prep,
Contest prep,
different story.
different story. We're not talking about that stuff. Here's how I look at it for myself. If somebody is a bodybuilder who just so happens to be, I'm not going to go too crazy here, but semi as diligent as I am. And I don't say that to toot my own horn. I say that to prove this point that I'm making. If a little bit of calorie-free syrup, condiment, whatever, these chemicals are going to cause cancer in me and kill me, so be it.
Yeah, dude.
I don't do. We've already talked about the 1,000 things Pat's never done before. If it's gonna be the Walden Farm syrup that I use in my off season that kills me, then fine. That's how I die. I will own up to dying from Walden Farms. It's okay. I've accepted that in my life. We talked about this a couple episodes ago with potential whatever. Like there's only so much I'm willing to compromise. Right.
I agree.
So
I
like.
agree.
Yes, if I want to put a little bit of Walden Farms calorie-free syrup in my oats to make my oats kind of taste a little mapley,
Tastes way better.
I'm gonna do it.
And here's one of the reasons why I allow it in the off season though is contest prep. I do not allow it. And contest prep takes a lot on somebody physically, mentally, emotionally, right? You need some lax in your off season. And I'm not one of those to tell people that, hey, just do whatever you want. Talk to me when it's contest prep time. Right. I want you to be diligent. I want you to get the most in your off season. And if having a little bit of fucking artificials in there, all right, is keeping you sane and keeping you from cheating and becoming a fat fuck.
Yeah.
Guess what? Let's have our sanity and let's stay consistent with our clean meals and let's progress.
I agree. I'm the same way. You know, on a sugar-free or zero-calorie.
I found that people cheat way less when you do allow them a Walden Farms barbecue sauce or a Walden Farms ketchup and a syrup. And
people cheat way less when they're full.
Yep.
And they enjoy their food.
Exactly.
So if a little bit of something like that is going to make them enjoy their food.
And if they get that 8 months out of the year and for 3 or 4 months they get the fucking get rid of it, they're going to survive.
Listen, that stuff's going to kill you if you're eating Big Macs with it.
Yep.
If you're dunking your Big Mac into a
1,000%.
You know, the traditional, like, can I get a burger and a large fry and a Diet Coke?
Yeah.
Type of thing.
I get it.
Like, what are you getting a Diet Coke for? You already just, everything you're eating right now is throwing that away.
Trash.
Yeah. So I don't mind it. In the off season. When it comes to prep time, not really a fan of it.
Yep. We'll get into that in a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, we might have a nutrition episode about contest prep. Yeah.
Yep.
We want to talk about rice?
Are we talking about, I mean, we kind of already went over why we're using jasmine basmati.
No,
Are you talking
measurements.
more so about
Sorry.
measurements?
So we did why can't I say it? Tricks and tips.
Yeah.
We
dude,
talked about.
It's a tough one, dude.
I know.
Say tricks and tips 3 times fast.
I can't. We talked about
You can't say it once.
We talked about 101. We talked about tricks
102.
and tips, which might have been 102. 103. Let's get into some like advanced measuring.
Measurements. Okay.
Yeah. This is probably 101.
This is one of the biggest confusions that as long as I've been doing this, people have always just made way too complex.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this person tells me 1 cup and this person tells me eat fucking 150 grams. And this person tells me X. Guess what, guys? Who gives a fuck? Consistency.
Yeah.
That is what we're looking for. Okay.
So Greg and I do this differently.
Pat, that's what you think.
We don't, but we do.
We don't and we do. Okay. So I was going to bring up why we're even having this conversation because it recently came up to you. Yeah. Okay. You can tell that story, but real quick, before we get into conversation, I'm going to say this. Mm-hmm. I typically, because again, I'm all for consistencies. When a client comes to me and they say, hey, this is what I'm eating. I'm having 300 grams of rice here. I'm having 300 grams of rice here. Guess what? I usually keep them measuring like that. If they come to me and they tell me, hey, I'm eating 1 cup and a half or this.
Yeah.
I keep them there.
Yeah.
Because again, doesn't fucking matter. I'm not going to start the confusion.
Yep.
I'm just going to make sure that we're consistent. But how did this get brought up to you the other day? Go ahead.
Oh, I didn't really want to go into that deep of a conversation about that. But basically,
wasn't the conversation basically between like ounces, grams?
Yeah,
and cups
someone
or
was
something
asking
like
me about weighing carbs in ounces, and like, you can't do that. It's like, no, what? Yes, it's just a unit of measurement.
That's it.
Of course you can. If you want to, it makes no difference to you or I if someone is measuring their rice in cups, grams, ounces,
and
kilograms.
Here's
milliliters.
Here's one of the arguments people give though.
Fluid ounces. I mean, everything that's on. I was reading off my food scale.
I understood, dude. I've used one of those before. So it's crazy. Here's one of the arguments that you hear though is people say, well, you can't do cups because it's not consistent because somebody might do a heaping scoop or somebody might pack it down. Well, guess what? If I have a client who I know tries to get away with murder and sneak in as little extra as they can in any way, shape, or form, no matter what we're talking about food-wise, guess what? I'm going to make sure it's on a scale because it's going to be a little bit more accurate. But guess what? The accuracy still has a lot of variance, even if you're weighing it. Guess what? If you cooked it, okay, and you made it yourself on the stovetop, right? Guess what? If you cooked it a little bit longer, guess what happened? You took more water out of the rice. So guess what?
More moisture. It's going to weigh a little less.
Moisture adds to your weight. Water adds to your weight. So if you're someone who cooks it a little bit more sticky and wet, guess what? It's going to weigh a little bit heavier.
Yeah.
If you're someone who cooks it to the point where it dries the fuck out, it's going to be a little bit lighter. So your 150 grams may be more rice than it may be when it's super fucking moist. Mm-hmm. So guess what? The best way to go about your rice is sticking to one method and being consistent. If you're doing cups, don't fucking scoop it and then pack it down all the way and scoop it some more and pack it and try and force yourself to get some more meals or to get some more out of your meal. You're just cheating yourself.
Just do everything the same way.
The entire process.
If you're cooking if you're doing it on the stovetop and you're cooking 4 cups of dry rice,
which yields about 12 cups of cooked rice,
and you need 4 cups of water, make it 4 even cups and do this exactly the same every time. Of dry rice, measure 4 cups of water, put it in there, cook it for see how long it took you to cook. If it was 12 minutes to cook it on the stovetop, great. The next time, cook it for 12 minutes. As long as the rice was good.
Correct.
If the rice was bad, you might have to change something. But if it came out fine, the next time, do it exactly the same. And people might think that's a little overkill. No, it's not. You're eating rice every day. Yep. Why would it be overkill? You're doing this for...
And the point we're making, okay, is it doesn't matter if it's 150 grams or 1 cup or whatever the fuck you're doing. Yes. 7 ounces, what have you, okay? That's my one, okay? What matters is if we're giving you 300 grams of rice, it's off season, and now all of a sudden we're starting to taper back. It's contest prep time, and now we're saying 250, and then we're saying 200. Guess what? As long as you're removing the amount we want you to move out,
you're going to be in a deficit.
You're going to be in a deficit. And as long as you're consistent with that measurement, it's going to work, and we're going to know, do they need more of a drop somewhere? Do they need more of an increase somewhere?
Yes. And
do not make this too complex.
If you don't work with us and you're listening right now and you're like, my coach does it in cups, it's better that way. We don't care how your coach does it. You know what the best thing for you to do would be if you did measure in cups, but you were kind of concerned sometimes, like, oh, maybe I did scoop too much that time. When you scoop a cup, put it on the scale and see how many grams it weighs. And then every time just do that. And then if you put too much in one day and you're like, oh, my cup is normally 168 grams for some reason. That's what my cup weighs. And then for one day it's
93. Guess what? Take a little less out.
Something's off. So like just make things consistent. It doesn't need to be complicated. If you like doing it in ounces, do it in ounces.
Don't care.
It's okay.
Don't care.
I'm not going to be hurt by it. Just make sure it's consistent. If you scoop that thing out, that cup out, and you're like, oh my goodness, it's 6.5 ounces. Cool beans. Make it 6.5 ounces next time you do it. Just keep things consistent.
It's that simple. Again.
Just like, and this also goes for meat as well. There is an argument in bodybuilding about should you be weighing your meat cooked versus uncooked. And if you cook it too long, what's the difference? Do the same thing. If you've been cooking your meat or weighing your meat cooked, keep doing it cooked. If it takes you, if you're a chicken baker per se, bake your chicken for if it's 10 whatever minutes on one side and
the same every fucking time.
Do things consistently and then you don't have to worry about it. If you are someone who likes to weigh raw, that's cool too, I guess. Do your thing, but then always weigh it raw.
Yeah. The only way that I tell people to weigh it raw though is if they're cooking it pretty much per meal.
Yeah, obviously.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't think
you're going to eat it fresh. Like if you weigh it raw and then you cook it all, guess what? Now you're going to have to weigh it cooked anyways.
Yeah, you're still weighing cooked regardless.
So it doesn't matter. So if you're someone who works from home and you have the luxury of cooking every meal fresh, yeah, weigh your fucking shit raw. Go for it.
Who cares?
You know? But if you're like most people who are cooking for convenience, you're cooking in bulk. At that point, for the sake of convenience, the best way to do it is just cook a bunch of fucking chicken, whether you're cooking 5 pounds, 10 pounds, whatever it is, weigh it all cooked. But do it the same way every time. Don't change your preparation. Don't change how long you cook it for. Consistency all around the board. That's all we're asking for.
And even if you were cooking raw and you did have that luxury, I still think you should weigh it afterwards too, just to see. Because something might happen one day.
I agree. I agree.
And this is just my
2 cents.
Yeah, my 2 cents on cooking things raw is I would still want to do it. I would still weigh it afterwards just to kind of see for my own peace of mind. That way, if one day something was off, I traveled, I did this, I did that, and something was a little bit off, I could know in the back of my head,
yes.
Cooked it should be about this much and something's off here. So something's
and
wrong.
Let's be honest. You're in contest prep and you travel or you drop a meal somewhere and you forget it or whatever and you have to go somewhere and say, hey, listen, cook this with spray, not oil, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. We're bodybuilders.
You just so happen to be a weed dealer and you have a little scale in your car.
Sure.
Now you can weigh it.
Yeah. We're bodybuilders.
They're not going to let you in the kitchen and cook it raw.
We eat out of Tupperware. Tupperware breaks sometimes. There's always something that could happen. So I would do it just to make sure I know what it weighs anyway, just to be safe.
Yep.
And this doesn't just go for rice and proteins. This works for, we weigh oats raw, right? Yep. If you don't weigh your oats raw, how are you measuring your oats, first of all? You're the weirdest person ever if you don't measure them raw. Imagine how much a half cup.
Cooking it.
Imagine how much it would weigh.
I've had so many people ask me, like cream of rice, hey, do you want me to weigh that raw or cooked? No. Cook a bunch of fucking slop and then throw it on a scale or in a measuring cup. Let me know how it works out for you.
But imagine, so like a half cup of oats, if you don't know, is 40 grams.
40 grams.
Imagine how much 40 grams of cooked oatmeal would be.
Yep.
Like a spoonful of oatmeal? Maybe 2 spoonfuls of oatmeal?
Maybe 2.
Yeah. I'm thinking of like the weight of a peanut butter to kind of compare the two. That's where my head went. So maybe 2 spoonfuls.
What's funny is I actually envisioned peanut butter when we talked about it.
Yeah, that's how I just did that math in my head too. Similar brains, dude.
Similar spoons.
Similar spoons, maybe.
Anyways.
Oats raw. Pasta raw.
Yeah.
You can weigh it afterwards too to figure out what it is.
Correct.
So that if you wanted to, so again, who would do this? You're a maniac. But if for some reason you also felt the need to cook mass amounts of oatmeal and then portion it out into different meals and then you reheat it at a different time.
You're a serial killer.
I'm really concerned for you as a person. But if you did, you could weigh it afterwards to know what your serving size weighs. Yes. Just like with the
again, your preparation would have to be perfect. Yes. It had to be consistent as all hell because if you used more water, less water, cooked it longer, cooked it less.
I was going to ask if you did, but I know you do. You have some clients that eat penne.
Yeah.
So having them eat pasta, I'll tell some of my clients my like intro to it's like 2 ounces, right?
Yeah.
Dry.
Which is a portion,
And then I'll kind of build off.
which is about 3/4 cup.
I'll build off of there. And sometimes I'll be like, oh my God, but what if I'm cooking for the week? Well, yeah. So
Well, if you
times
got
that by
7 meals,
times that by 7.
14.
And then when you're done and you have this big vat, divide it by 7. Say the whole thing. You cooked all this pasta for 7 days and it was 700 grams. Then you get 100 grams of it a day. Done.
And I think that's the problem, though.
And this is,
And again,
we started this episode by saying we forget that these
Yes.
things are so simple to us, but these are things that you guys should,
They're overthinking it.
yes.
You need to make this as easy as possible. And I think people get way too in their heads. It's all really simple math and simple science. And again, we get not
us.
everybody
Yeah.
understands or has a background as long as we may have, but ask questions then.
Yeah.
Do research. If you have a coach, do your own research because it's good to educate yourself, right?
Yes.
But ask us questions as well. Don't be afraid to.
The people that asked these questions that sparked us even having a discussion about Nutrition 101 were all clients of yours or mine. So I'm glad that they were asking the question because
100%.
they wanted to know the answer
Yeah,
to this,
ask.
which made me think maybe we should talk
I'm
about
never
this.
going to laugh at somebody or make fun of them for asking a question that is only going to benefit them.
Definitely not to your face.
Yeah, I mean, we laugh at a lot of things, but we want you to have the answer.
Yeah.
Because guess what?
And we want you, we don't also, this is one of those episodes we're doing because we want you to understand what you do every day.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine if I went to work one day when I wasn't working at the gym, going into an office and having a meal set in front of me and someone being like, hey, so why are you eating that? And not knowing the answer. My
I don't know.
coach gave it to me.
What's it do for you? Oh.
Why do you eat that rice?
Oh.
Imagine going to work and being a guy who eats 4 meals of jasmine rice when you're at work all day long, and someone being like, "Hey, so why are you eating that rice?" And being like, yeah, just because my coach."
I'm not talking shit to anybody.
Neither am I.
But you would kind of sound like an idiot not knowing.
How silly would you sound to be like, "No, yeah, because someone told me to."
Yep. There is a reason behind everything we have you doing, or your coach has you doing. You should know it.
Yeah.
Ask questions.
Imagine we were just making.
And if your coach can't give you the answer, you can reach out to Patrick at patrickpfit@gmail.com. You can reach out to me at greg@gblfitness.com. Thanks.
Boom. Or BAM preps,
Yep.
because you're going to need food,
That's it.
obviously, if you don't know why. So, yeah, dude, imagine we were just like telling people jasmine rice and it was super hard to find. Because we were like, yeah, it's got to
do
be,
have a problem finding cream of rice.
it's got to be fragrant jasmine rice. People are like, oh my where's this fragrant rice? I can't find it.
Oh my God.
And we were just messing with them. We were just yanking their chains. We were just telling them this whole time they could grind their rice up and have cream of rice, but they can't find it. No. Cream of rice is a little bit harder to find.
It is.
It's
you
not-
know who always has it?
Caputo's?
Caputo's.
Yeah, well, they have everything.
That's why I love it.
Duh. You know why people don't go to Caputo's, actually? I hear this a lot. People say it's expensive.
It is. It's not like Jewel's expensive as well.
Yes.
Jewel's expensive. Caputo's expensive.
Yes.
But
It's not Walmart and...
I would say it's not Walmart, Meyer, Aldi,
No.
whatever. But it's also not your fucking Whole Foods or bougie ass
no
shit.
way.
You know?
It's not that expensive.
It's not that expensive. But what I like about it is it literally has everything.
Yeah. And
I don't care what you're looking for. It has it. It has the healthiest of the healthy. It has unhealthy. It has variety of everything.
yeah. The point I wanted to make, though, even by
Shout out to
saying...
my sponsor, Old Elk. Thank
Yeah.
you. This is a weeded bourbon. It's delicious. You should try it.
Does this one have French oak?
It does not.
No, I know the
It does
word.
not.
Hold on.
That was
Kate,
Penelope.
if you're listening, French oak staves.
Yeah, good job, dude. Good job. You would love that.
She's going to be so proud of me.
Yeah, she might be, but she'd probably be more proud if you tasted it.
Yeah. Well, she's probably, yeah, whatever.
We'll see. Maybe
She might actually get mad that I memorized it without drinking it. What a
Maybe
loser.
you'll taste it in a few months, dude. Don't worry about that.
Someone's here.
Who let the dogs out?
Yeah, someone's here. I think we have to go. And my knees are hurting and I have to pee. Can you believe?
Wait, that's it?
How much more do you want to go into? Do you want to know what time we're at?
What time are we at?
1:10.
Oh, holy shit.
Yeah, dude. We've been talking about food.
Well, I was just going to kind of like...
I don't think we need to recap.
Okay.
We've repeated everything we've said at least once or twice.
All right, well, listen, guys.
I don't think we need to like recover what we just did.
The point of what we're trying to do is we're trying to educate you a little bit. We don't want you to be lost.
Yep.
Okay. And like Patrick said, if you don't have a coach, you could pretty much take what we've given you today. You could piece together your own meals. Yeah. Obviously, portions are going to vary, right? Listen to your body and adjust from there. We definitely should come out with another episode where we talk more nutrition for a contest prep because there's going to be a little bit more variance to it.
For sure.
A little bit more rules and regulations.
For sure. If you guys want to hear more about nutrition,
that's what I was going to say.
If you guys want more of the in-depth, why are people talking about eggs being so bad and why? Because today was a very general, like we were talking about a person who doesn't have cholesterol problems or doesn't have this or doesn't have that.
Yes.
We were just talking about the average healthy person who wants to start bodybuilding. There are always going to be different cases, even though I think and I know that whole eggs can help lower your cholesterol. I do know this. I would still...
When you said I think, I was going to say no.
I know. But here's where I was going with this. If someone had high cholesterol, I would still potentially be cautious of how much and where I'm giving it to them throughout the day. Correct. Not saying I wouldn't avoid it. I wouldn't see high cholesterol and be like, no, my God, do we got to take all your eggs away? Nope. I would just be more cautious of how much, when I'm giving it to them, etc. So this was for the average healthy person who was just looking to start bodybuilding, and this is what a diet would look like and why they're eating the things that they are eating.
Yes.
If you guys have more questions on nutrition and why we feel these way about these certain things, and maybe, listen, we're not here to talk poorly upon other coaches or anybody else's ideas, but maybe your coach is having you eat white rice and now you're questioning why you're eating white rice instead of jasmine rice. That's
or maybe
fine.
Your coach is having you eat brown rice for all your meals, and you should reach out to patrickpfit@gmail.com or greg@gvf.
Or sweet potato with all of your meals.
Bingo.
We didn't even go into potatoes.
I almost brought it up.
I know.
And
It's
then you
just a
said
whole
you wanted to simplify things, so I just left it out.
Because the reason I kept... It's the people. The reason I kept... You see him?
No.
Oh, me either.
Scary looking that way, dude.
The reason I kept the potatoes out is because they're one of those weigh things.
Yeah.
It's another like, do I weigh it cooked or raw or cooked?
Well, when we started talking about weighing, that's when I almost brought it up, and I was like, he doesn't want to make things overcomplicated. I'm gonna leave it.
We kept it pretty simple with like the certain ones that are raw, like potato or oatmeal and pasta, and then the cooked things like the meats and the rice.
Yeah.
Simple.
Generalized, simple.
Yes.
Leave it at that.
If you guys have any more questions about nutrition, please let us know. If you guys want to order any meals,
let us know.
Please let us know. Get your orders into BAM Preps Mondays and Thursdays for Monday and Thursday pickups. Any last words? That sounds like we're going to die. Anything else you want to say before we sign off? Dude, imagine I was just like...
Any last words?
Any last words?
No, man, you pretty much covered it. All I was going to say is you have more questions, please let us know. But you already beat me there, so...
How'd you feel being just the two of us again? Dude, I'm nailing like couples songs today.
Yeah, that was actually a remake. I don't remember who the original was, but it was Will Smith. And then it was done. It was done.
Will Smith was not the original of that song.
No, I said it was original.
I know,
but remakes of Will Smith.
Yes.
And then there was a third version with who?
I don't know.
Dr. Evil and Mini-Me.
Oh, of course.
Yep.
You were going movie quote.
The best version.
Yes, the best version.
Obviously.
Is, Mike Myers.
Yes.
In Austin Powers 2. Is that 2?
Was it
or
Mike
3?
Myers? Did Mike Myers also dress up as Dr. Evil?
Are you kidding me? He's everyone in the movie.
Well, I got to go back and watch
Are
the
you
movies.
nuts?
Dude, I haven't watched the movies since they came out.
That's the whole point, though, is he's everyone.
Is he number 2?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, see, he's not everybody.
No, not everyone.
Is he Seth Green?
No.
Okay, so he's
but
not
he's
everybody.
Austin, Dr. Evil, and...
Is he Vanessa?
No, and the fat guy.
Oh, say, because then I might rethink my whole thoughts on...
I wonder if he's anyone else in the... Well, we have to go watch the movies now.
Anyways, we're going to go watch Austin Powers 1, 2, and 3. So...
Until next time.
Put that in your pipe and smoke it.
Please like, share, and subscribe. Let us know what you guys want to hear next.
BAM Preps.
BAM Preps.
Have a good one.
Bye.